Well, today I want to talk about how time goes by so quickly. And I'm 54 years old, and I don't know how that happened because if you look back in time when you had your parents, I had both my parents, and I'm the third one from my siblings. So I'm the youngest one. And my parents had me when um, my mother was 35 years old. So I was born later in life, in her lifetime. So I look back in time and I start thinking, I don't know too much about my parents. I know the basic things, the stories they used to tell me, but I think back now and I have so many questions I want to ask them, and I don't know a lot about that. Do you ever think about your parents? Um, if you have questions, you never ask them about a lot of things. Like, let's say my parents are deceased now. I don't know if you have that same situation, because what happened back in the day, they used to smoke a lot. So they even used to promote cigarettes. They used to give them in the beginning for free so that people get addicted to it. And yeah, so that's one reason. And the stress, I think, there was a lot of stress which I didn't know about financial back in the day, because when I was around my parents, I used to be a teenager and I was a child. So what do I know? I used to care about school and things like that. And later I started working. So but still, if I want to get to know them deeply, I'm thinking now at the age of 54, there is a lot to know about your parents. That do you even think about that? There is a lot of things I could have asked, a lot of questions which I don't know from from their childhood. So I know the stories that they told me, but the thing is, I grew up in the war, during the war, and I switched lots of classes, lots of schools. So, and sometimes I had to redo a class because it was disruptive. So we didn't go to class, the whole year. So I had to repeat it the following year. And so the other thing, my parents had a store, a retail store, and they used to sell ladies' accessories and nail polish, acetone, and in that timing, we didn't have like insurance, so they went through a lot of losses. They had, when there was like fighting, with the war zone where there was like fighting between two parties, and then they used to bomb each other, and one of the stores got hit, and acetone is highly flammable, so the whole store got burned. It was burned, but when you live on the line of fire, we don't have insurance. You're just lucky you're alive. So, and that's, so much they went through. Now, when I think about it, I would be like so stressed and having anxiety, and it's like a living from crisis to crisis. But I guess they were thinking at one point to leave and go to immigration, but then there was ceasefire, and everybody's, people go back to normal, like try to recuperate and do things the normal way. But yeah, well, they thought maybe it's too difficult to pack for the whole family and to leave to a foreign country and to start over. And as I was saying, my parents were probably in their 50s when I was like 15 years old or 18 years old. So they were like older, to start a whole family in a new country. But then you never know, there were other people trying it. So yeah, that's the thing. Do you ever go back in time and think um, about your family? If they're deceased now, you think how their life was back then. But the other thing, my mother was working as a secretary, and she used to type on a typewriter. Those typewriters, they're not like those computers now you just tap on it and it's magic. Those typewriters, because I went to school for it back then when I was a teenager. So when you're typing on it, it's like you have to make an effort. It's like, you know, at that time you don't have, you have your health, so you don't think about it. So you just, you typing, and it's kind of hard comparing of today. Today's computers, you just tap on it. And they used to take steno, when let's say your boss is speaking, you have to take notes. They didn't have a computer, to put notes in it, or record the voice or something. So stenography, for the people who you were born in the 60s and 50s and 60s or 70s, you know what that is. You just write um, everything and take notes, and then you can type it like a correspondence letter. They call them correspondence, on the typewriter, and you used to put it in the mail, with the stamps. You had to go into post office and wait in line. I mean, they still wait in line now, but yeah, everything was, you had to do it, on a typewriter. And yeah, I thought I went to learn how to type on the typewriter because the French, we speak in my country, we used to speak French and English. So I learned the French one, and it's similar to the French, the English one. So, and later I knew how to do it with the English typewriter. So yeah, it was so different back then. And sometimes, you sit and think how life was back then. But then things were much cheaper. So I would never think about this inflation thing that we're having right now. I thought maybe things would be a little more expensive, but not a whole lot expensive, like we are, like, to the sky, the prices. It's it's insane. So, but yeah, I mean, the loaf of bread was cheap, and the meat, we used to eat like spaghetti meat and things like that. It wasn't something, like you had to, um, like right now you have to wait to be on sale. I don't know if my parents probably did that, but it wasn't like, it used to be 5 of us in the family, and we weren't starving, and we were in the war zone, and we were in, a situation where there was a gap. My parents weren't working for a while, and then they were working. So even with all that hardship and crisis and the war situation that was going on, which was disruptive, we used to manage. We didn't have electricity. We used to have candles, flashlights. We used to manage the survival mode. I know it was stressful probably for my parents, because what do I know? I used to be like a child or a teenager. So I used to just, hang out with the girls of my neighbors. Whatever they used to do, I used to hang out with them. So yeah, that was the time. If you go back in time, do you ever think about how they lived, and what question you would have for your parents? I don't know if you even know your grandparents, but for my time, I only had a grandmother. I just know her for a short period of time because, as I said, I was born the last one on the list from my siblings. And yeah, even for my parents, I don't know them for that long. I mean, I know them till, first my father passed away when I was like 18, 19, and then my mother, I was about 33, somewhere around there, or 36. Um, yeah, it's upsetting when I talk about it, but that's how it went. That's how it was. That's how life was. For me, you can't choose. How you want it to be. So yeah, I wanted to share this with you. Let me know if you all have this nostalgia, like they call it nostalgic, from the past, and you look back now, you think this is like a different planet zone. And they used to tell me a lot that life is harder as you grow older. You would start thinking about how you're gonna survive with a job, finances, and then comes your health. That's the serious one, because if you don't have your health, it doesn't matter what else do you have. So yeah, so I wanted to share this with you. If you want, you can leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And this is what I have for you today. Please put a like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.